G'day everyone, it's SDS SuperCoach providing SuperCoach content for you. I'm here to present the team reveal for AFL SuperCoach 2024. I'm saying it's a team reveal, but at the same time, I'm not fully locked into this team, but I'll discuss my reasonings with the team, who I've left out, who I've brought in, that sort of thing. So hope you guys, this is probably my one of my favorite videos of the year, so it's super exciting. But I think you guys deserve to see my team. I am recording this at 6:14 p.m. This will release at 7:30. So if I miss any news between now and 7:30, whenever you're watching this, then I do apologize. I can't predict the future. So let's do the team. And look, I'm going to start in the forward line. This is certainly probably the line where I'm certainly not convinced on. But so also my team from last week before opening round, I've made about 8 changes. So overall. And also make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below on what you think about the team. All right, let's start off. And this is a bloke that I haven't had in my team all preseason. Same with a lot of other people, but I've chucked him in and I'm dreaming because I brought in Heaney. I guess sort of the thought process for me here at the minute is that I remember last year Errol Goulden went nuts and scored like 140, very similar to Heaney as well. And I guess it's sort of a thing where another Sydney player's just totally gone off his nut. Now in an actual AFL game, not in a practice game that Goulden did last year. So that's sort of the theory. In this side, I have left out Sam Flanders and Luke Jackson. I'll explain why. With Sam Flanders, I would actually start him over Heaney, but there's a big main problem um, with starting Flanders in the forward line, and I'll get to the reasoning why when I go through the rest of my forward line. With Jackson, there's a chance I could still put him in, but as of recording, Sean Darcy's out for 3 to 4 weeks, and for one thing, I'm just not sure if that's enough time for Jackson to be worthy of a pick. Second of all, there was a little tightness in his back, according to some WA journo out there on Twitter. And the third thing is he might not even be the solo ruck again, even with Sean Darcy out. There's rumours about Liam Reedy uh, potentially being in the team, and because I think the reasoning might have been that Jackson, the whole off season, the whole plan was to play more forward, Darcy in the ruck, and the rumor is that they might want to keep it that way with Jackson still being the forward with a new bloke, Liam Reedy, potentially rucking. So there's a few red flags with Luke Jackson. I still might go with him, but I think with Heaney, we're going to get that early price rise, and it doesn't affect my buy as much. Now, he's one of 3 premiums with the round 5 Collingwood Sydney buy. But I guess in my head, it's just sort of one of those things where we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I've only got 4 primos with the opening buy, with an early buy. So I don't feel as bad. And all of them are from round 5 and 6. So I've got a bit of time to think about that. So yeah, I've gone Heaney. He'll get an early price rise. If he's a fraud, then I can always trade him out to maybe a Flanders after his buy, while Heaney's having his buy. That's really sort of the theory. Yeah, I've gone Isaac Heaney, and yeah, I think George's intro did certainly um, convince me a little bit. Shout out to George as well, absolute legend. Make sure you subscribe while you can. All right, pick number 2. I'm going with Zach Fisher. I think the role's too disgusting, too beautiful, too sexy to not put him in my side. No early buy, grouse. Um, it's a really awkward price, but there's a chance he could be a keeper in our forward line if his hamstrings can stay intact. Yeah. And I also, by the way, I'm not really convinced about how good personally Zach Fisher is as a player, but I think the role's far too good to say no. There is one glaring obvious out in the forward line. I've had him in for the majority of the preseason. I've left him out, not because I wanted to, it's because of my structure with this current side at the moment. I would have put him in if I could afford to, but there is no Nat 5. And and don't get me wrong, I would have put him in if I could, but I had to make sacrifices around the field to get 12 premiums in this SuperCoach draft or team, my final team, where it could be. And I've left him out, and I didn't want to ruin my side just to try to keep Nat 5 in. Nat 5 is still a very good pick. I highly recommend the pick. I just can't fit him in. So at F3, I'm going with James Jordan, who I like his I like his he's got good attributes to be a really good Supercoach scorer. Even if he's half forward, wing, he's a good accumulator of the ball. And that's a really important part of being like a mid-pricer and to make some money. He can get the ball a lot. Whether that comes to good or bad decisions with his decision making, we have to see. Or no, we have seen it, and it's a bit iffy, but he's getting the ball. Scored 81. First quarter was a terrible role. Sort of opened up his game a little bit more horse, and yeah, I thought he was really good against Melbourne. But to some extent, I don't think that's him at his best against Melbourne, and he still scored an 81. So I think he's going to be a very good Supercoach mid-pricer for us down the forward line. At F4, I've got Harley Reid. Yeah, I wish I had 5, but I just can't quite squeeze him in. But I've got Harley Reid at F4. I think everyone's got him. Sorry, you should be playing on ball, half back. I like that mixture. I think he's better suited on the ball, but they will preserve him off half back as well, where they want to ease him into AFL level. And Harley Reid, and the best way to do so is to play him off half back. Not really playing on anyone, but just getting a lot of easy uncontested ball, and that's what we like. At F5, I've got Alex Sexton from the Suns, who didn't even play that great against Richmond. He got a fair bit of the ball, which is obviously very promising, but butchered it a fair bit and still scored a 73. So he's easily a lock for me, and I want him in my team. So I don't really see any reason why you wouldn't start him, to be honest. So I'm very happy to have Sexton here. Now at F6, now you're going to see the reason why I probably can't start Flanders. Maybe I can, but it's just a bit awkward. I'm going to start Cadman. He's got a really good first couple of. I mean, he played pretty well against Collingwood last week, but then he's got North Melbourne and he's got the Eagles. By two really good matchups for a key forward. I think he can make quick cash pretty early, and then probably sort of. I mean, some people may look to trade him out during the buy. I can see that. I'm going with Cadman though, and yeah, I think a lot of people are as well. I'm surprised he's only at like 13% ownership, so I really like Cadman, and hopefully he can do. Hopefully he can kick a couple of snags, and you may notice that I've got him on field as well. That's how confident I am. I think he can deliver some really good early scores. Then obviously at his buy, obviously either trade him out or he slots onto the bench just to make more cash. Now, one thing you might notice, now this is probably the real reason why I'm not starting Flanders, is that their GWS and Gold Coast have this buy in round 3. And that's pretty early in the season. If I put Sexton and Cadman as well as Flanders in the forward line, I actually won't be able to it will just bring me down to 21 players on field. I've just really thought of a thing in my head where there's actually a way I could probably do this, because there is a midfielder forward on my bench. But I've just thought of it now. Let's just stick to the script. Having Sexton, Cadman, and Flanders all at that early buy in one line is a bit of a pain in the ass when it comes to because as well it's best 18. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. All right, and then the players on my bench, I've gone Chris Burgess from the Crows. Just because of that Riley Thilthorpe, the Lisps injury, I think Burgess can slot in. good. He was really good for the Gold Coast Suns VFL the past couple of years. Mature age, think he can put in a good shift. So yeah, I don't mind him. And the other one's going to be Seth Campbell, who did score a 70 up against Gold Coast. Now, the role isn't that great. And to be honest, at the minute, the team isn't that great. So I guess there is a little bit of concern. But now I believe we can now check break evens. And as you can see here, Seth Campbell's got a negative 25 break even just after one game. If he can have another spike score, he'll become an instant cash cow and a very important cash cow. Just the role and the I wouldn't say the job security's that great, but I thought he played well enough to stay in the team. But yeah, the role in the team that's probably very likely bottom six isn't great, but he could make some early cash if he pays off against Carlton. All right, so let's move into the ruck line. I'm not overthinking it. I'm still going Max Gawn. I know he played pretty average against Sydney. I think the matchups over the next few weeks are more favourable for Max Gawn. I still like him very much. And I still think this is value. I know he didn't play great. I think we're going to see a fair bit of inconsistency from Max Gawn when it comes to his scoring, just due to age, and it wasn't as good as he once was. He's still a very good ruckman, but whether there's a decline, I'm not too sure. But like we've wanted Gorn all pre-season, I'm just gonna trust my instincts here. And then of course we got Brady Grundy, who absolutely destroyed my other opposition, my other primo right here in Max Gorn. Brady Grundy destroyed him. He was fantastic. 139 he scored last week. And yeah, pure value. Could be in the running for top five. Ruckman. And yeah, I just think he's too hard to say no, really. And now we're going to bring in the bloke that I've been talking about in the forward line, because for me, the forward line at the minute is actually the hardest to sort of make. So I've got Reedy. Now he's currently in because I've heard that Toby Nankervis is going to be back for Richmond this week, which is a concern for Sam Naismith because I personally don't believe he can play anywhere else. Where Reedy's half a shot to play this week. This selection's purely based on team selection, by the way. If Reedy gets named, I'll probably go with him. If Nate gets named and Reedy gets named, I'll probably go with Nankervis. If obviously if Nankervis gets named and Reedy doesn't. Oh no, sorry, not Nankervis, Naismith. I meant Naismith the whole time. If Naismith gets picked but not Reedy, I'll go with Naismith, of course. If neither get named, I'll probably go towards Cohen Livingston as the loophole, save 20k, that sort of thing. But for now, we're going with Reedy, just because I'm worried that Naismith won't get named when with Naismith being back this week. Let's do the midfield. Actually, no. Yeah, we'll do the midfield. M1 is going to be a bloke that I didn't have most of pre-season, but I think with 42% ownership, it's going to be far too hard to say no to now. I'm going with the Bont. Hasn't been too many red flags. Like the only red flag I've heard with Bontempelli is that he had ankle surgery, but not really any other injuries. So I'm going with the Bont. Yeah, I think it's just far too hard to say no to. I love him as a player, and and for what it's worth as well, guys, the hardest week to nail a captain is round one, which is when ideally you're picking 30 of 30 players that are playing. No VC loophole, no emergency loophole. You get realistically you get one shot at it. And if you get Bont, then if I'll take Bont 100 plus round one. He'll be my captain. I'll save that for the preview, but I'm sure you guys ain't surprised. Absolute beast. I'm getting him in. No early buy, no problem. All right, I'm gonna be a stubborn bastard with these next two picks. I'm gonna go Zach Butters. There's nothing too concerning from what I've heard with Zach Butters. I know he rolled his ankle a couple of times over the past month. I don't think but for me, he sounds like he's all good to go, ready to go. No problems with Zach Butters. So I'm locking him in. I've had him in all preseason. It would really piss me off if Butters just went completely bonkers and I changed him out last minute just because of a rolled ankle. So, and then I'm going to go with another bloke that I'm being stubborn on, Luke Davies-Uniacke from North Melbourne. Once again, good. He has a good buy. No early buy. Don't have to worry about his buy till round 12. And yeah, he's another one where it'll really piss me off if I take him out last minute and he just goes bonkers. So yeah, I'm going LDU here. Pretty happy to have him in. I think he's easily North Melbourne's best mid, and yeah, um, yeah, I'm going LDU. Hasn't had any injury troubles over the preseason. I know Butters has, but he seems to be totally fine to me. I think Zach Butters said that he's like 99.9% all good, so no problem there. Hasn't had any injuries over the preseason, to my knowledge. Um, I know he played bad in preseason, but the role is still there, which is definitely the most important thing. Same with Zach Butters. As long as the role's both there for them, I'm happy to stick with them. Like for example, I had an Andy Brayshaw in for a fair bit of the preseason. Spoiler, he's not in my team because he's playing more wing. He had 7 less CBAs than Caleb Sarong, and I'm happy to pass up on that because when you're playing wing, there's less chance of you getting the ball. So yeah, look, we're going LDU. Nick Martin playing off halfback, going to be the seagull of the Essendon Football Club down there. Um, they've trained him in this role all preseason. Um, I'd be very surprised if he didn't get DPP when it first comes out in after round 6. So heading into round 7, he should have DPP that we can swing him into the back line. Beautiful. Yeah, so he's basically a defensive premium for me. All right, now this is a bloke I haven't had in all of preseason until now. I'm gonna go with Ollie Wines. Whenever I hear people speak about Ollie Wines, just it's hard to knock it back because all the everyone on Twitter, Discord, YouTube just keep bringing up great point after great point after great point about Ollie Wines being a pick, former Brownlow medalist. Better buy, really good start to the year fixture wise and stadium wise. I think they play like 7 of the first 10 games at Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide, ridiculous. So yeah, I'm going Ollie Wines. It's a bit sad not having Matt Crouch, but I think Wines I'm leaning more towards now, and he's pure value there. So he's a good placeholder until his buy, and then I can flick him on to another premium in the midfield. And yeah, all right, let's smash out this midfield rookies. Colin McKercher, I'm still going to have him on field. I know a couple of people are considering putting him to the bench. I still think he's going to be one of our best rookies. I think he's a beautiful kick, really good accumulator of the ball. So I'm happy to have him on field for now. At F7, I've got Riley Sanders. This shouldn't come to much surprise to anyone. Sanders should be playing on ball round 1 to round 24 for this season. He looks to be an absolute jet, and as I said a couple of times, I hope Hawthorn go all right with Nick Watson because, as you guys know, I'm a Hawks man, and gee, Sanders went to pick after Nick Watson, and I'm thinking, gee, no pressure, wizard. So, yeah, we're going with Sanders here, and see how I mean, not see how we go. We know how it'll go. He'll be one of our best rookies in SuperCoach for this season. So hold on to this man as long as you can till his buy. Could he be your M9? If you've got enough cash generation around. So yeah, look, at M8, I'm going with Matty Roberts. They've moved Jake Lloyd to the wing, which now opens it up for Matty Roberts to do really well. So he actually scored a 76. I thought he scored a 73, so even better. So yeah, I've got Roberts in there. The halfback role looks brilliant. And I'm just happy to have him in. He's one of my guys. I really love his game. The way he goes about it. So yeah, I really like Matty Roberts. Round 0 Rising Star nominee as well, so shout out to him. All right, at M9, I'm going with my only Hawks player in the side at the minute is the pencil in Henry Huswaite. Now with Day's um, timeline for his injury is currently to be confirmed, which doesn't sound very promising. As a Hawks man, frustrates me. I guess SuperCoach wise, it does help Huswaite. He's not very he's not very flexible when it comes to position wise in footy. He's either in the guts or not playing. So I don't think you have to worry too much about if they're going to move him to a wing or a half back or a half forward, but it is Sam Mitchell and he likes versatility in his players, so they might move him everywhere. But I just like to think that while Day's out, he's the ideal replacement for Will Day and this very similar type of player as Will Day. And I just like to think that we will persist with playing Henry Husway in the guts. All right, and then we got Darcy Wilson here for St Kilda. So we've got a mid forward link there. This is what I was talking about. So I'll just be really quick, but what I was thinking was when it's that round 3 bye with the Giants, you could go Flanders, but then swap Wilson because he's a mid forward as well. Swap them to the bench. You could have Wilson, Burgess, and Campbell on the bench. But yeah, I don't know. It still doesn't sound like a great idea. So we're going with Heaney for now. But that could change my mind. Anyway, let's get back to Darcy Wilson. He's officially been named for round 1 to play, which is fantastic. So, and he should be a really good cash cow for us. I think he's got a lot of Ollie Hollands vibes of last season, and and I think he could even make 200k. So, I think Wilson will be a good rookie for us. There'll be certain matchups we can put him on field as well. All right, at M8, at M11, we have got Jai Clark from the Cats. Does seem like he should be able to play again in round 1 against the Saints. I hope that's the case because with Guthrie now out, in the latest practice game, he certainly played a lot more in the midfield, maybe to replace Guthrie. So that's super promising. Hopefully Geelong can play this kid because I think he can be a really good rookie for us. And he could even be a bloke you could put on field. But with just all these good rookie options that currently at this stage, it's hard to put all these blokes on the field. So, yeah, I think Jai Clark's a good pick. All right, now to the back line to wrap things up here. D1 is Nick Dacos. I don't think this comes as a surprise. I've been hot on him for the majority of the preseason. There was a little 1 week period where I thought, oh, maybe I'll grab him later. But why would you want to grab him later? He's a blade defender and SuperCoach. He's going to be a midfield premium for the next 15 years. So just grab him. Just grab him while he can down back. I know some people are worried about Finn McGuinness as well. We can't predict the future like that. He might get injured round 2, Finn McGuinness. He might not be in the side. He might be playing Box Hill that weekend. With just for the sake of your mental health, start Nick Dacos because if you're in the 32%, I mean this video could come back to bite me, but if you're in the 32% here, that wouldn't look ideal on you. But you never know. It could work out, but I'd be very surprised if it did. So I think just start Nick Dacos. I think it's hard to say no to the bloke. So he's a ripper. All right. Now this is a bloke who has been in tiny little patches of my preseason team, but now he's made the team. Also due to money, I've gone Dan Houston, which means no Tom Stewart. I guess the thought process with not picking Tom Stewart, he's in his 30s now. 635k is a lot to pay for unless you Nick Dacos. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think 635k is overpriced for Stewart, but I don't think it's value. It's about his range. And I could just thinking to myself, we could probably get him at some point, maybe under 600k at some point. It'll be a small window for Tom Stewart to be under 600k. But I mean, as well, I'd like to pick him, but I just can't fit him in money wise. So we've gone down Houston. as I said, I guess similar theory with Ollie Wines here, but he's got 7 or 8 of the first 10 games at Adelaide Oval. I think it's 7. And some really nice matchups in there. So I really like the Port Primos there. And Houston used to go to my school, used to go to Campbell Grammar. So did Nick Dacos as well. So we got a little bit of a Campbell Grammar partnership here down back. So that leaves a warm place in my heart. So I guess I don't want to pick players based on love for the player, but yeah, I do I do love Nick Dacos and I do love Dean Houston. So yeah, we've gone there for now, and then we've gone Harry Sheasel at D3. I think the role's too good. There might be a chance at some point during the year that they move him off that half back line, but we won't worry about that for the time being. We'll just add him to our side. I saw something during the start of preseason where Sheasel did say that he he actually lost weight during the preseason just to improve his running power and that sort of thing. So that does worry me if he's going to be moving more to a wing potentially at some point or whatever the case may be. But Sheasel's just such a good user down back. I want to get him in. So yeah, there's no complaints from me with the Sheasel pick. We're going to go with Hayden Young from Fremantle. Good value, playing midfield. We saw how good he was against Port Adelaide. Really like the pick. Don't see any complaints uh, with starting him. Just think it's the right move. So we're going with Hayden Young. All right, at D5, we're going Zach Williams. We saw on Friday night, obviously slide up a bit towards the end of the game. Whoa, was there updates on my players just then? Or am I tripping? Whatever. Zach Williams slowed up a bit towards the end of the game, but was still on like 49 at half time. And he's just come back from an ACL. So it's obviously going to take a fair bit of time. But he could easily be a bloke that gets a 400K. That's how good he is at his price. So, yeah, no, I like the Williams pick. I know the injury concern is there, but too cheap to pass up for me. We're going to go with Blake Howes at D6, scored a 91, as you can see on the screen there. He's going to be, he can make quick cash. He can make really quick cash really quickly. That was a tongue twister and made no sense, but scored a 91. Job security's now there with Jake Bowie out for 6 to 8 weeks. Plus, he performed really well against Sydney. I thought he held his own, sort of built his way into the game. So I like Howes. Ignore me, got a notification. So yeah, we're going Blake Howes there. Josh Gibcus, we're going to put at D7. Not fielding him this week, I don't think, against the Blues, just because the poor bugger's going to have to deal with Mackay and Curnow. So my guess would be a lot of the ball's going to go down there, but he's going to be too worried about stopping those two. So yeah, I don't think Gibcus will score too great, but scored a 76, looked really good against the Suns. So no complaints from me. He's cheaper than he was in his rookie season, so that says it all. He's got it up to 300K before he can do it again, so no issues with me there. Then lastly, we're going to go with, who is it? Oh yeah, Zach Reid from Essendon. I guess for Zach Reid, top 10 pick, fully healthy now. Seems to be a pretty important part now of Essendon's backline, so good to see him finally up and about, and we get to see what he's really like at AFL level. I know he's played a few games, but fully healthy preseason, no complaints. So that is really good. So there's my current team for the minute, guys. 76.7K left in the bank. I could have added Stewart, but I like having a fair bit of money in the bank to work with when it comes to correctional trades for my starting team, because fun fact, I'm really bad at picking starting teams. So hopefully this pays off all right. The team this year. I can't guarantee that this will be the final side, but this will be the final time I show you my side. Oh no, that's a lie, because I will do a preview during this before the game starts. So that is a lie. Yeah, that's my side. So let me know what you guys think. Am I happy with it? I'm not fully sold on it, but I'll still do some tinkering. We'll hear more news before the game starts. So Yeah, there it is. I'll quickly go over the players that are highly owned that I just haven't got in my team. Nick Hoffield, he's actually one I would like to get in because now he's named for round one against Melbourne. But with this current structure, it's a bit hard unless I drop Williams, Howes, Gibcus, or Reed, which I'm not willing to do. Am I willing to go down to 3 premiums? There's potential. I could drop Houston, maybe add Jackson back in, take out one of Campbell or Burgess, add Caulfield in. That could be a thing. We'll have to see. Who else we got here? Daniel Curtin. I just don't think he's playing round one, so I'll happily pass. I would start Stewart, but rather the extra money in the bank. Gideon Coleman, Paul Bugger's done his ACL, so wish him all the best. Phillips, I just think these options plus Caulfield are better. Sicily, I just think he'll play more accountable. Sorry, I'll speed through this. Toby Pink, once again, similar to Phillips, that I just believe Howes, Gibcus, Reed, and Caulfield are better options. Marty Hall might get named with Bowie being out, so he's a very interesting one, but it's quite clear that his job security ain't great. Massimo, just not with the structure, maybe if Williams flops, but no. All right, let's move into the forward line. We'll do 10% and above. Nat Fife, I just can't fit him in my structure and salary wise. So I wish I could get him in. I just can't fit him in for the time being. Also, as well, I was flirting with the idea with this team of having 11 premiums, but with best 18, I think a lot of people are going to go with the 12 premiums in their side. I'm not including Fisher with this. Heaney, Gawn, Grundy, Bont, Butters, LDU, Martin, Wines, Dacos, Houston, Sheasel, Young. I'm considering as premium, so that's 12. I was flirting with 11, but I think most people are going to go with 12 premiums. And when you're building its side, you're already left behind when it comes to upgrade season because you're already on one less premium. So I made it pretty essential, especially during best 18, where you want to get as many premium scores on field as you can. Yeah, just have going 11 premiums, I don't think is viable at the minute. So, yeah, I've got 12 premiums if you count Fisher 13, I guess. And I just need Nat Fife's the sacrificial lamb here, unfortunately. So he's out. Mano, if he gets named, I might pick him over Burgess or Campbell, but we'll have to see because I do think if he's a rookie option, he should be under high consideration to bring into your team. But obviously, job security is a worry. I was never really that interested in Caleb Windsor. 180K for a first year winger doesn't really fill me with great confidence. Scored a 58, but yeah, I was pretty disappointed with I guess his price because I think he would be a really good rookie, but we can get like the same version of Windsor for 50K cheaper and Darcy Wilson. So yeah, Windsor's a pass for me. Dersma's role, I just don't think is good enough. If he gets a 300K, I personally reckon that's a very good result. But yeah, Dersma's a pass for me. Jackson's under high consideration, man. There's a couple of red flags, but gee, yeah, he's tempting. I could drop Houston down to Jackson and bring in Caulfield and do some other random stuff. So that's one thing I'm considering. Jack Billings now named as sub from last week, so he can be a pass for you. Sam Flanders, I just think I mean, there's a chance I could add him in. It might be one or two of Jackson, Flanders, and Heaney in my final side. One or two of them, but it's just trying to get the structure right first. So, yep, Marley's not going to play. And if you're going with a 102K forward ruck loop, I'd go Livingston, so I don't like it. McRae, just job security is very average. Very surprised he isn't getting a game. I feel like Collingwood, as Kane Corn said last night on Footy Classified, I think they really need some youth in there. Nick Watson, small forward for probably a bottom 4 team again. Definite pass. I haven't fully bought into the Charlie Lazaro hype. Now, I'm not denying it because I do think he could actually be a good rookie, but I've just never really bought into it. I'm not sure how good of a player he actually is. I need to sort of see as well what kind of CBA's numbers is he getting. I'm not fully sold. Maybe they prefer him over Phillips, and he's also mid forward. So if you went Lazaro, I wouldn't disagree. I just can't I'm for a bloke that I haven't really considered all pre-season and just never really got into the hype. I think I'm better off just not starting him, but I could be wrong. Toby Green, 14%. I don't get it. He's an inconsistent forward. With an early buy, I know Flanders is literally the same thing, but Flanders is actually playing full-time mid. Toby Green's always been that inconsistent half-forward type that I wouldn't consider. Sam Darcy, don't think he's getting named. McRae doesn't even sound like he's going to play against Melbourne, so he's a pass. Harms never really got into the pick there, so he's a pass. Bolton, far too inconsistent, and Livingston, I don't mind if Reedy or Naismith don't get named. For the Ruck, Naismith, if he gets named, then I'll pick him. Who else we got here? Tim English, far too expensive. Sweet doesn't look like he's going to play. And let's get to the midfield. Jeremy Sharp, there's a chance he could play, but I think he got injured in the Waffle practice game. So I don't know. He's sort of more one to wait and see in selection, but he might just be one to pass on. Surprised not many people have dropped off Errol Goulden. Scored a 77. Price very likely to go down. Let's actually have a look at his break even. Goulden. His break even now is 146. So he needs to score 146 just to stay in price. So he's very likely not going to go up in price. So that's a concern for him. So look, I'd personally jump off. I wasn't massively keen on Goulden. I was a bit scared, but the fact that they were playing him more wing is just surprised me a fair bit. I thought the reason I was scared of not having him is because I thought he'd play full-time mid with all these inside midfielders injured, but clearly not. So yeah, Goulden's a pass for me. Uh Tom Green, I'd love to pick Tom Green, man. I'd love to pick Tom Green. Just the buy hasn't worked out. But he's certainly a very early upgrade target. I think he can be top 2 or 3 midfielders in SuperCoach for the season, to be brutally honest. Yeah, I really love Tom Green. If this was a normal fixture, I would pick Tom Green. And same with this bloke, Tuke Miller. If it was a normal fixture, I'd probably pick him. He seems to be more back to his best. He looked really good against Richmond. But just with that buy is a pass for me, and I prefer Flanders than Miller just because we're more strapped for options in the forward line than we are in the midfield when it comes to premiums. Petrarca, now with Oliver back, wonder if he spends more time forward with given how terrible Melbourne's forward line is at the minute. Jordan Dawson's not really one I've ever entertained. I think we can get him at like 580k at some point during the year. Jack Steele, not fully sold on him being I'm not fully sold on him being fully back. I think the opportunity's there, but I think he might just be one of those players where his peak was a few years ago, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, he's more one I'll just let play out, to be honest. And then last one to mention, Connor Rozee. Could actually turn out all right, but I think out of Butters and Rozee, I think I prefer Butters. Plus, there's also risk as well that Rozee, new captain, might drop in performance, might play half forward, might play more of a team role. So that's sort of the reasons. My dad texted me. Thank you. All right, we'll leave it there. So I will save this team, and I wonder if this will work. No, let me refresh because I just got a new SuperCoach mod, and it should show the players' faces, which it's not. You bastard! Why isn't it showing the players' faces, man? Hang on. Let's just pretend Nick Martin's there. We'll just add some random. We'll just add some random mid. We'll go James Warple. I'm just hoping the players' faces show. Of course it doesn't. All right. So yeah, this is what the team is looking. I don't know. I got a new mod for SuperCoach. I know JD pointed it out and a few of the YouTubers are doing it. So, but you can go dark mode as well, which looks pretty cool like that. I like the OG look, so I like it like this. If the player's faces, there we go. There we go. So it's a little bit, it's not fully complete, the mod, but I think this just looks really cool. I'll zoom out again just so you guys can see the full team there. There's my final side. 76,700. Yeah, there's the team. I'll talk about vice captain and captains later in my round preview. But yeah, here's the team. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. And obviously I'll do some more videos. But yeah, if you guys are watching this, best of luck for your Supercoach season. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys around.